lived so much of a life in my little small lifetime. I'll tell you this. I don't know if you and dude like together for real or not. I don't know if y'all plan on getting back together. If y'all ain't together, that ain't none of my business. But from woman to woman, keep yourself safe and your babies, and don't let no man touch you.
What up, what up, what up, what up, what up, sexy people? What's happening, beautiful people? What's happening, people on IG Live, people on Instagram, people on Twitter, and of course, my people on YouTube. What's up? Welcome to another episode of Nights with Nikki. You guys are getting this baseball cap and these pigtails because what? Your girl was really debating about whether or not I was going to do a live, but you know what I said? I said to myself, say, I said, if I'm going to take this whole YouTube algorithm seriously, I got to do the work. So y'all going to get y'all nightly gab fest. I hope you guys are enjoying it. What is popping? I see you, Prakash Kark. I see you, Sweet Junkie. I see you, Bank Sean. What's up, beautiful people? And I see my people on YouTube. If you're watching me on YouTube, please do me a favor and hit that subscribe button. And also make sure that you hit that like button because why? Because that is how YouTube knows that you guys are interested in this conversation, these conversations that we're having. And if you're watching me on Instagram right now, I challenge you. Run on over to YouTube, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. I'm sure Instagram is probably not cool with me saying that, which is why it's all three of y'all on there watching me right now. At some point, we're gonna cut this Instagram live feed off. I'm just using this opportunity to get you guys a little warmed up with your girl. Thank y'all for hanging out with me. Thank you for being a part of this experience. I love talking to my folks. I really appreciate having these open dialogues with y'all. Tonight, I'm actually going to try to do what I say every night, which is that I'm going to answer some questions. But I definitely wanted to unpack a few things. A lot going on out here in these streets. We've got some, I guess, responses from Fox Boogie. Oh my gosh, we got a response from Foxy Brown, which I'm really excited to get into because if you like me, you've been wondering where Foxy Brown been. I love Foxy. She was always very kind to me. And I'm just a big Foxy Brown fan. I think she's beautiful. I think she's, super talented. And we haven't seen her in a long time. Foxy Brown has been able to do something that a lot of us celebrities out here have not been able to do, which is keep your personal life real extra personal. Because we have no idea what Miss Fox Boogie is doing, except for the fact that she has some things to say. Oh, yes, she did. Now, if you are on my Instagram, then you won't be able to see some of these screenshots that I have pulled. Hey, young girl, lady, I see you. Hey, Lane A, good evening. A little bit of housekeeping. Make sure you guys like, share, and subscribe to this platform and worthtv.com. Just to give you guys a little, hold on, worthtv.com. Okay. Just to give you guys a little information or just to explain the difference between worth.tv, which is our YouTube channel, and worthtv.com. Worth.tv YouTube channel is, rocking and rolling. We're on here on a regular basis, getting our worth.tv YouTube game on. And we can appreciate all of our advertisers and folks that come on and spend some time with us getting this message out. And worthtv.com is our streaming platform. It is a web-based streaming platform. So you guys, I would appreciate it if you would subscribe to both, just because heaven forbid something happened and all of a sudden, YouTube decides that I'm telling a little bit too much truth out here in these streets. I think I should be fine because I see a lot of truth tellers on YouTube doing just fine for years and years and years, but you never know. So we have our own platform, which is worthtv.com streaming platform. So y'all know I like to talk and I like to share. So I want to talk and share a little bit about Miss Fox Boogie. So apparently, people have been putting Foxy's name in their mouth, and she is very, very adamant about making sure she's letting you know how she feels about it. Now, I guess there's like some underground group or some folks out here in these streets who really want Foxy Brown to speak up about maybe things that have been going on with her and her career and whatnot. And she's made it very, very clear. She said the headline here reads Foxy Brown breaks her silence. And Foxy responded right away by saying, "Stop playing with my name. Dying for a comment." Laughing, laughing, laughing emojis. "Can't spin me with the slick sugar honey iced tea to take Hove down. Better ask somebody the cloth I'm cut from." So sounds to me like Foxy Brown is not jumping on the bandwagon, and she's speaking up and she's speaking out for herself, and she's letting all you folks out here in these internet streets know that she does not have a problem with Hove, aka Jay-Z. Um, y'all listen, I have to say, this whole P. Diddy thing, we're gonna get into that other screenshot. Of course, we're gonna get into Diddy's mom and what she had to say. I believe it was today. I'm seeing a lot of people talking about it, but it's really interesting because I see a lot of people out here who are working really hard to bring other people into these Diddy allegations, right? I like when people speak up and speak their truth, even if it is not popular opinion. In case y'all haven't figured it out by now, I'm all here for the person who is not afraid to speak their truth. And I think that's what we have to really start figuring out how to do, how to accept people speaking their truth, especially when you wasn't there. And say that all the time. And I say it all the time because, you know, there's a lot of speculation out there about a lot of people in this whole Diddy thing. And a lot of people's names have been brought up in this whole Diddy thing. And some of these people, I'm sure, are like, how the hell did my name come up in this bullshit with honey iced tea? Right? And there are probably some people sitting around thinking to themselves, oh, Lord Jesus, I hope they don't say my name too often or too loudly. Do I think that the silence of the entertainment industry is deafening? Yes, I do. But I also have to say, that's the smartest thing for people to do, either way. Because the bottom line is the general public will take something and run with it as if it is gospel. And the reason I'm saying that is because I know that to be factual, actual and factual. It's happened to me. It's happened to pretty much everybody that I know. It's part of the reason why. Shout out to Angie Stone. You guys make sure you subscribe to Angie Stone's YouTube channel. Angie Stone is out here sharing her truth and telling her truth because she like, listen, I'm not gonna let people sit out here. Let me scoot over a little bit more for my Instagram folks. I'm gonna turn y'all off in a minute. Y'all gonna have to go to YouTube because Instagram be playing with the algorithm anyway. Don't make no sense. You got 200,000 people and ain't 3 people on the live. I see y'all, but thank God for Twitter and YouTube because they over here allowing the truth to be told. Anywho, yeah, people get out here and they speak a lot about things that they don't really know for sure, and that's so dangerous because it really does affect so many people. You understand what I'm saying? Like, this isn't just entertainment. This is like these are people's real lives, okay? And we got all these internet detectives out here talking about what they know and what they saw and where they was, and none of these people have been in these environments. So I understand when people in the industry are trying to stay away from all the noise and the trash and the garbage because you're putting people's names and shit and you don't know who did what, why, when, or how. Let me get into Diddy's mom's response, and then we gonna open it up. I'll open up the floor for some questions and comments because I need people who are a whole lot smarter than me to help me unpack all of the things that are going on here today. Yes, I'm rocking my 90s R&B baseball cap. True story. The reason why we stopped selling our caps, which we may start again We working on it. Is because I don't play those trademark games, and someone else had trademarked the phrase. They haven't really done anything with it, but I'm still of the mindset that you don't step on nobody's trademark, and they still have it. It'd be different if the trademark was dead, right? Like R&B Diva's trademark was dead, and that's how I was lucky and blessed enough to have acquired it, right? But the trademark for the 90s R&B was not, and I believe that you do unto others as you would have them do unto you. So I stopped selling the hats, but I know they dope. I know they fresh. I know y'all want them, and we working on trying to figure out how we can get them back to y'all. But that's part of the reason why we stopped selling 90s R&B merch, because I don't play that taking other people's shit, unless of course you let it sit for years and years and years and do nothing with it, and then it's just sitting there as a dead trademark, and then it's open season. Anybody can snatch it up. And thank you to Michelle Miller, my amazing trademark attorney, who saw to it that I was able to secure the trademark for the show that I created and should have had ownership 100% of in the first place. But let's get into Diddy's mom's comments, and I've actually written something here that I would like to share with you all, but I want to get your feedback and your perspective as well. Again, if you're looking at this live on YouTube, which I hope and pray that you are, that please do me a favor and hit the like button. Please hit the like button and the subscribe button and the share button, because that all matters. We are in a whole new world right now, and the algorithm likes to know that human beings are actually interacting and enjoying this content. And I want y'all to act like y'all don't see my little Pippi Longstocking braids, and just pay attention to what I'm saying and not what I look like, because I know, honey, these past couple of lives I've been honey child. Okay, so Diddy's mother, Miss Janice, I'm old school, so we still gonna honor the parents of folks and whatnot. So Diddy's mom speaks out and defends Mogul. My son is not the monster they have painted him out to be. So we finna read this article from the Jasmine brand. Shout out to the Jasmine brand, and congratulations to the Jasmine brand on getting your 2 million followers back. I'm so happy you guys were able to do that. I think they're super dope, and super proud of Jasmine in my ear. Okay, so this is what Diddy's mom says, and then we're gonna unpack it, y'all. We gonna see what we see. She said, in the midst of a string of legal issues, and I'm sorry, this is the opening here. In the midst of a string of legal issues involving allegations of sexual and ex trafficking, I'm sorry, I forgot I'm on YouTube. I have to do that. Sean Diddy Combs' mother has stepped up to defend him on behalf of the Combs family. Janice Small Combs issued a statement on Sunday via her attorney, Natalie Figures, and she stated that although her son is not perfect and he has made mistakes in the past, as we all have, he is innocent of the charges brought against him. Janice Combs, the mother of Sean Combs, through her undersigned counsel and on behalf of the Combs family, released the following statement. I come to you today as a mother that is devastated and profoundly saddened by the allegations made against my son, Sean Combs. It is heartbreaking to see my son judged not for the truth, but for a narrative created out of lies to bear witness of what seems to be like a public lynching of my son, before he has had the opportunity to prove his innocence, is a pain too unbearable to put into words. Like every human being, my son deserves to have his day in court, to finally share his side and to prove his innocence. I am not here to portray my son as perfect, because he is not. He has made mistakes in the past, as we all have. My son may not have been entirely truthful about certain things, such as denying he has ever gotten violent with an ex-girlfriend when the hotel surveillance showed otherwise. Sometimes the truth and a lie become so closely intertwined that it becomes terrifying to admit one part of the story, especially when the truth is outside the norm or is too complicated to be believed. This is why I believe my son's civil legal team opted to settle the ex-girlfriend's lawsuit instead of contesting it until the end. resulting in a ricochet effect as the federal government used the decision against my son by interpreting it as an admission of guilt. It is important to recognize that none of us, regardless of our status, are immune to fear or mistakes. Not being entirely straightforward about one issue does not mean my son is guilty of the repulsive allegations and the grave charges leveled against him. Many individuals who were wrongfully convicted and later exonerated had their freedom taken from them not because they were guilty of crimes that they were accused of, but because they did not fit the image of what society considers to be a good person. History has shown us how individuals can be wrongfully convicted due to their past actions or mistakes. Watching the world make jokes and laugh at my son's life crumbling before our eyes is something I can never forget. It is truly agonizing to watch the world turn against my son so quickly and easily over lies, misconceptions, without ever hearing his side. Um, these lies thrown at him are motivated by those seeking a financial gain and not justice. Interesting. These individuals saw how quickly my son's civil legal team settled his ex girlfriend's lawsuit, so they believe that they can quickly receive a quick payday by falsely accusing my son. False allegations of sexual assault thwart true victims of sexual violence from getting justice they deserve. Absolutely, and we definitely gonna talk about that tonight. From getting the they deserve. To make matters worse, the federal government is now using these lies to prosecute my son. This injustice has been unbearable for our family. The worst part of this ordeal is watching my beloved son be stripped of his dignity, not for what he did, but for what people choose to believe about him. As I ask his supporters, fans, colleagues, friends, and the public to not judge him before you've had a chance to hear his side. I beg you to think about those who have been wrongfully prosecuted, to remember that not everyone has made mistakes in life. I'm sorry, not everyone who has made mistakes in life deserve to have their entire existence judged by a single action or a few mistakes. My son is not the monster they've painted him to be, and he deserves the chance to tell his side. I can only pray that I'm alive to see him speak his truth and be vindicated. Woo wee. Woo, woo wee. Woo to the motherfucking we. Said ooh, ooh. No, I'm sorry. I'm not trying to make a joke out of his mother's open letter statement, whatever. You guys, please do me a favor. Hit the like button because I am out here in these internet streets trying to give you guys a different, more nuanced perspective as someone who's been in this business for a long time, someone who's been to a couple of Diddy parties. I ain't never been to no freak off though. I ain't gonna hold y'all up. A freak off has never occurred. I've never attended one, but let's talk about it. I see a lot of comments out here. I see a lot of comments out here. Hey, Miss Nikki, hope you are enjoyed your weekend. He says Diddy is guilty of many things, but they are throwing seasoning on his situation. Very, very interesting. Hey, Sora, I see you. They are throwing seasoning on his situation, somebody said. Okay, okay, okay. Greetings, everybody. If you're watching me on anything other than YouTube, please do me a kind favor and go over to the YouTube and hit that like button. Please hit that like button. Please hit that like button. Greetings, greetings, greetings. A few mistakes. Yeah, every mom will say that say that about their parents, so or their children, I think you meant. It says some parents are in denial of birthing a monster. No, I'm sorry, I can't really, I still have to respect people's mamas and families and whatnot. Exactly what would you expect a mother to say? Okay, let's go in right there. Let's go in right there, Kelly Hastings. Let's go in right there. Let's see. Good Earth Angel says, "Hey, Miss Lady, if it walk like a duck, quack like a duck. What? I'm sorry. What is it about my childhood? I'm sorry. Let me post this because I said this wrong. Hey, Miss Lady, if it walk like a duck and quack like a duck, what is my childhood? Okay, right. Child has been ruined. Okay, I have something to say about this. of course. Y'all like, no shit, not you, not the person who has something to say about everything. But like I said, this is the other objective perspective on YouTube, because we got a lot of folks out here in these YouTube streets that are definitely using all of this as an opportunity to get a coin and get a bag. And I'm not mad at people getting their bag and getting their coin, but I will say this. I'm sorry, honey, what you say? My husband just popped in. I didn't hear what he said. Text me. Sexual chocolate. Um, so I have to say this. Number one, of course we expect this from his mom. Of course, we would expect any mother who loves and cares about her child, we would expect a mother to speak up in a situation like that. If anybody's going to speak up for their child, I would expect that it would be your mother or a family member, right? And I get what you guys are saying. I understand that, um, it could be a little biased because it is his mother. But I have to say, a lot of what she said is absolutely correct. Now, her opinion of her son, I'm taking that out because I know Diddy, but I don't know him like that. And I definitely don't know him intimately or any of that other stuff, which is why I'm being very careful about just assuming that everything that comes out in the press is 100% accurate on him. I don't care how much people yell it, scream it. I don't care how much passion people have when they say it. Every human being on the face of the earth deserves an opportunity to have a fair trial. Period. That's the thing that we have been advocating for many, many years. And it is the one thing that we all can agree that even though in this situation, most people have made up their mind based on the fact that they saw the tape, the Cassie tape, which was absolutely terrible and it was absolutely horrible. But I'm going to share something with you guys, a clip. And I want you guys to pay real close attention to this clip because it is super important when we start talking about how these kinds of accusations and this type of thing impacts and affects family members, right? We all have people in our family, people we know, people that we have dealt with that have made really bad mistakes. And unfortunately, that is the reason why people get so concerned about their legacy and their name. Look, Tina Turner said it, and what's love got to do with it? I need my name, baby, because what you put on your name goes on for years and years and years, right? And the decision of one bad actor in the family can affect everybody. So let me get back to the things that I agree with um, as it relates to Miss Combs. She's absolutely right when she says that too often Black people are judged in a court of public opinion before they are judged in a court of law. She is 100% right. I don't care who has a problem with what I said. I said what I said with my chest and my red Fantasia lipstick. Shout out to Zion. Hold on, turn it up. Y'all know I'm be talking shit because I got my red lipstick on. Shout out to Funky Deneva. She's absolutely right when she says that too often in the judicial system, we are not given the opportunity to either have a fair trial or we are judged before we get there. And as passionate as all of us are about seeing to it that justice is served, we have to stop and process the legal system, right? The media is putting a whole lot of stuff out there that immediately has us responding to it like, yep, he did it. Oh, he did that. Yep, he did that too. He did that. He did that. He did that. The man should be tried for the things that they can prove that he did. And if that means that they can prove that it was some underageness going on, which is a horrible, 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 horrible accusation. Like the worst of all of them is this possibility that there was a minor involved in this situation. That is crazy. And it's also very dangerous because everybody knows in prison and in jail, they don't play that. You know what I'm saying? So that is a very serious accusation. And the other part of it is there's a really powerful law firm that is getting behind the victims, right? So we got a very fine line between supporting the victims, right? And I wish that Miss Combs had maybe perhaps made a stronger statement on behalf of victims, which I think would have, not to criticize his mom's statement, because listen, I do not do criticizing people mamas. I'm sorry, I'm old school. I do not play that shit. I don't care how many likes and shares and all that other shit that a conversation about somebody disrespecting somebody will bring you. I'm not disrespecting people's mamas and their kids. And anybody who came to this page expecting that, uh, can hit like and subscribe and leave, because we ain't gonna do it. Somebody said the lipstick is giving woman. Thank you. I love it. The lipstick is giving Fantasia is the color. I don't think the justice system is fair for innocent people or for poor people. I have to say that I've had my own challenges, and let's just say I'm hoping that it becomes more fair. Um, Sea Breeze says, I'm taking into consideration Diddy alleged drug problem, and I give him props for his contributions to R&B hip hop music, and I believe that there is fairness shown to us, but we know this already. Yeah, hey, listen, everybody deserves a trial, and I'm just gonna say that everybody deserves a right to a fair trial. And the way that people of color, when she said that it really kind of, hurts her to see how people have turned on her son so quickly. Um, I mean, they say fame is a vapor. They say money has wings. They say fame is on accident. And the only thing that stands the test of time is character, right? And there's been speculation for a very long time about not just Diddy, but a lot of folks in this industry doing inappropriate things. The misogyny in the entertainment industry has been rampant for many, many, many years. Mrs. Combs should do what she's doing, which is advocate for her son. Because listen, you guys, y'all gonna hate me. Y'all gonna some of y'all probably gonna hate me when I say this, and some of y'all probably gonna have a whole lot to say about it. But what he did to Cassie and what we all saw on the tape that has some people believing like everything else that you hear, that I don't think is why he was arrested, right? I think, and it's interesting. I'm gonna be real transparent with y'all. I was having a conversation with somebody very close to me in my family, and because I wanted the male perspective on this, right? And this was before like all the other allegations started to come out. And what this person told me was that if every black man who has ever been abusive to his woman um, had a video out there, you know, you probably would be running out of brothers. Now, I don't agree with that because I don't believe that the majority of black men beat up on women and drag them down the hall and kick them and don't let them leave and all that stuff, right? Which is what we all saw in the video. But I understand his point when he was like, listen, when I was young and I was a hothead and I was arrogant and I was doing the wrong thing, I was doing stuff that if somebody had a video of it, it could probably completely destroy my career and destroy my life. So I think the reason why you have a lot of men or brothers and even some women out there who are more supportive than others is because people are like, well, we're all human. Kind of like what his mom said. We're all human. We've all made mistakes. And the truth is, I know that there are executives out there, high level, high ranking executives who have beat their girlfriends up. It's articles out with high profile non black men who have lost jobs and been sued by people because they have been caught abusing women. Now, to the degree that allegedly Diddy has, I don't know. But I've seen there's been a lot of really foul, disgusting behaviors by non black men And this is not the make excuses for Diddy, because I don't know shit until I see what happens in that court. And that's the one thing that being in court and having to pay lawyers and having to go through motions will teach you. As much as I want to just say, yell to the rafters, Katori Hall took my shit, there's steps and procedures and things that I have to go through in order to actually prove that in a court of law. And if you don't prove these things in a court of law, then it really does not matter. Let's see. Here's another comment. Sea Breeze says, "This is what happens when black people take upon white people's traits. I stopped on the strength of the R&B group told." Okay, wow. Yeah, it's crazy. It's that I hear you. That's all I can say. Let me see here another comment. He is charged with rugging and forcing X, and not just right. I'm aware of what he's charged with. I think we're all aware of what he is charged with. What we're saying is he still gets the right to a trial. That is the thing. And what I believe has happened is, because he has been charged with these heinous acts, and we've seen the video of him engaging in a heinous act, that whenever something comes out in the press and in the public, whenever something comes out, we are going to, a lot of people are going to believe it. And I'm just saying, that is the reason why we have a judicial system, because everybody needs to go to trial. Now, I definitely want to see to it that if all of these things that he said I want to see to it. I would like for the judicial system to prove how valuable it is to society if all of these things that he's being accused of are true, and put him up under the jail. But I'm willing to be one of those people who waits to see more of the facts that are filed in a court of law and more of the evidence. And once we start to see more of that, even still, unless we are a part of the 12 jurors that are making a decision on his life, it's kind of one of them things. There go my girl. What up, Pam Esquire? Pam says, "I think the assault video was just mentioned to show MO that he's threatening and coercive, which is what is needed for what they charged him with." Okay, thank you, Pam. Pam Esquire, the law intellect. I appreciate it. She's a smart sister from Detroit, and I'll take that all day. You're actually, there it is, that's one to be careful what you pray for. Black people love saying everybody's not lying. You'd be surprised what people will say and do for a check. Let's live in that moment for a second. If you've never had a group of people lie by either omission or just flat out tell a lie on you in a collective, right? And paint a picture, then you might not understand how hard this situation right here hits when he says you'll be surprised what people will do for a check, right? Again, this is not, me trying to take up for nobody. Because quite honestly, I think it's disturbing, disgusting, awful, damaging, and I hope that if this is the case, he has to pay all the penance that God has for him and the judge and the jury has for him. But I will say this, having been somebody who has been caught up in the bull sugar honey iced tea of public perception and people having one impression of you, which is totally false. Like, until you have had the world, not even go so far as to say people are lying on people, right? But just, we tend to like take something and just run with it. And by the time, the whole thing, like, you tell somebody a story and then they tell somebody a story in their ear. And then by the time the story gets around and back to you, it's a completely different story, right? So there are a lot of questions in this puppy trial that I'm excited to see answered, right? The number one question is, if he's been doing this for as long as he has, was anybody else aware? Was anybody else an enabler? Was anybody else in the room? Allegedly, there were a lot of people in the room. Now, the one thing I could say I can appreciate about this Busby attorney is he's made it clear that he's naming everybody. He's naming all of them. And I'm not going to share what my conspiracy theory is about all of this, because I just got enough troubles of my own before I start getting out here laying shit out that, y'all might not be able to relate to. But I've heard a lot of things in the industry for a long time. And, I'm just saying, don't be so quick to get somebody to guillotine until you had the facts. The most exciting thing about this trial is all the other stuff that's going to come out as a result of of all the evidence they found. B2 Be Good said his best interest is to not do a trial because all of it is going to come out. I don't know about that either. I don't know about that. I'm not a lawyer. So you're just going to ignore. Oh, hold on one second. Hold on. So you're just going to ignore or didn't hear the press conference of the great victim being knocked out. Okay. No, I'm not going to ignore that. Nobody's going to ignore that. Let be clear, ma'am or sir or Queen Keish. I am a huge advocate for women. I have a whole documentary, which I'm about to show y'all a clip from, because I got to make a point about why it's so important for us to be responsible and not play judges and play jurors if we're not in the court, and be careful about what we assume before we have more facts. I am simply saying two things can be true. Everything about him could be true, and everything that is being said about us rushing to judgment and throwing each other under the bus before we have all the information can also be true. I've been in this business for 30 years. I've seen a lot of things. I'm not defending anybody that I wasn't there to see, definitely didn't do it, and I'm not accusing any, whatever. I'm not gonna get all off into that, but yeah, we're definitely advocates for victims here. We just need to see more. If he is guilty, I don't think he could have done this alone. That's what I'm saying. There are people who have been in his life for a very long time who have been clearly aware that something was going on if these things were happening this way. I just don't see how it's possible for all of this egregious, terrible, toxic, destructive, dangerous behavior to be happening for all this time. And what, he was holding it, people was holding it for the right time. Was it just the Cassie thing that, you know, launched this whole investigation? Was that all? Was it the little ride thing? Like what caused it? And I think it's something to consider when you think about the fact that Homeland Security was in there, and they had like it was a big production. It was a big deal. So clearly there's more information that they haven't given the general public and all us Instagram and YouTube detectives. They haven't given us all of those details. Queen Keish says, what about the 60 witnesses who went to the grand jury? I'm again, I'm not discounting the witnesses. I'm not discounting the possibility that every word of this is true. But you can't just lock somebody up and throw away the key without getting more information. Aren't you curious, Queen, as to whether or not there were other people involved? Don't you want to see this play out? Don't we want to know whether there were more people, whether or not there were more victims? If that is what happened, all I'm saying is let's allow the judicial system to do what it does, because I watched the press conference several times and all I got was there's an indictment, we're confident, there's a lot more to come, nothing is off the table, and whoop-de-whoop, and all this other stuff that has come up. If there were young victims like that, were those young victims included in the original? Are they going to be added? We don't know. And because we don't know and we're all speculating, I think it's important that we just kind of fall back and like listen and pay attention more. Just because you cry at a press conference doesn't make it true. The Menendez brothers, right? Okay, listen. That's the other thing. Thank you for saying that. That guy, thank you for mentioning that. The Menendez brothers. The Menendez brothers is a great example of what I'm talking about. I don't know all the details, so I'm not going to go too deep into this, right? But allegedly, Kim Kardashian is out here trying to get these men out of jail because some horrible, terrible things happened. And I guess allegedly some of what they were saying was true. And the world basically believed on the information that we were given through the press and the media, which is controlled by conglomerates and very wealthy people outside of the folks that get on YouTube like myself and say what we got to say. We're discovering that there's more to the story. How often do we discover there's more to the story? There's a guy who was executed a few weeks ago based on information that was given at the time that he was in court. And then new information came out, and we discovered that all the things that happened, or allegedly they said this guy did, there were some questions about, and he ended up being executed anyway. Now, I don't know because I wasn't there. I don't have all the details. What I'm saying is, as a general rule, it has to apply to everybody. We can't say that we don't want to see a black man executed because there's not enough evidence here or there, when the reason they put him in jail and put him on death row was because they felt like they had all the evidence that they needed. So mistakes happen, right? And I think that's what his mother was trying to say. And she's right about that. And we can't act like she's not right about the fact that sometimes they don't get it right. I'm not saying that's the case with Puff, so don't run with that ball either. I'm saying we have to just be patient, and we have to pay attention, and we have to read. That's the thing. That's why I see why lawyers get paid the big bucks, because lawyers be about the only people out here in these streets reading. Although everyone is supposed to be innocent until proven guilty in a courtroom, the court of public opinion deems everyone to be guilty and need to prove their innocence. There it is. Although don't nobody consider P-Valley, Stars, and Lionsgate guilty. They just think I'm crazy. But that's a whole nother conversation. I think he is guilty of at least some of the victims' allegations, and not just Cassie. My gut and my heart and my instincts tell me, it, like you said earlier, if it walked like a duck, quack like a duck, and all that other stuff, it's a duck. In all likelihood, there's some shit going on that we need to figure out about, but it's probably a whole lot of other people. And that's what I'm hoping happens. What I'm hoping is that we find out, by virtue of the investigation into Puff, that we find out about all the other ones. And if we can just roll that bowling ball and knock out all them pins in the strike, then it's worth it being patient and figuring out what he has to say. Because, I mean, what if he has something of value to add that helps save some people? Because he like, okay, I'm busted, I did it, but he did it, and he did it, and he did it, and he did it. Would we receive that? That is my question. Let's see. Here's another comment. Meek Mill. Okay, Leia. All those names and stuff. Again, you guys, until somebody files something in a court of law and shows some evidence, we've heard that there is evidence supporting the victims, the 120 victims. We've heard that they have tapes and recordings and all that other stuff, but once court comes around, we'll actually be able to see it. Hold on a second. I believe the stories. I never believe the stories, but I have insight. This isn't about victims. This is about punishment and the hands of favor being removed. I don't get the 1-800 number. So a lot of people have been talking about the 1-800 number. And I think the 1-800 number is very important because there are victims everywhere, allegedly. And even if all of those victims, because what I've been hearing is that it's not just Diddy. That last lawyer, the Busby lawyer guy, said Diddy was not the only one. And by him saying that Diddy is not the only victim, is not the only defendant, then that means we're going to find out that there are other people that are doing it. And I think in this entertainment industry, that's super duper important for us to find out who all the other perpetrators are. So if we got a 1-800 number for victims to be able to call and share their story, it's going to be a lot of work. And it's going to be a ton of, probably folks that are just calling because they're looking for a bag, like his mom said. But I think that it is better to go after every lead and to vet every call, because you never know who could bring some information to the table that could help save more lives. And this is really what that's all about. You guys, I see a bunch of y'all on my, thank you guys. I see a whole bunch of y'all on my YouTube. I see a bunch of y'all on my YouTube. And I want you guys to hit that like button because I need y'all to tell the YouTube folks that y'all like what y'all see. And if you are on my Instagram, I need you to go on ahead and go over to my YouTube and I need you to hit that like button. And while you guys are about to hit the like button, I'm going to share a clip with y'all. And we're gonna get back into that because I see these comments are really good. This was about a Q&A. So I love it. Please hit the like button. Please hit that like and subscribe button on your way in. Please hit it. Thank you, thank you, thank you, Pam. Thank you, thank you, thank you. So you guys, I'm going to show you guys something. And I want y'all to, the reason I'm showing this to you is because one of the big issues I have with how we are handling this Diddy case is the impact that it is probably having on the innocent family members and children. I know. Folks are quick to say, oh, well, his daddy should have thought about it. Why we got to think about it and the dad didn't think about it. You guys, do unto others as you would have them do unto you. Period. If you found out that there was a person in your family doing horrible shit like allegedly Diddy has done, you would want to make sure that the children in your family were protected from the adverse effects of the decisions and choices that the responsible or irresponsible adult in the family has made. And I think it's cruel and I think it's inconsiderate and I think that none of us would want it to happen to us or our kids. You understand? And I want to share this with y'all because the reason I feel so strongly about that is because I watched a family almost destroyed, it's all relative, by the decisions that a predator made. And I want to show you guys a clip from this upcoming documentary. It's a fairly short clip, but I want you guys to really pay attention to what the kids are saying. And these are real children who have really been impacted by the decisions of adults in the room. And I want you guys to consider Diddy's children, and not just Diddy's children, all of the children of the victims. This is generational. This shit that's going on in Hollywood and music and stuff, it affects families forever. So
I got to break it to my girls, Gabrielle and Eva. Their grandfather has went to jail on 4 first-degree accounts of sexual misconduct with a minor, molestation, all type of crazy stuff. I'm like, what the hell, Dad? Really? I can't believe that this is happening. I can, but I can't.
I just hate just discord. I hate going through trials and tribulations. I know it's making our family stronger, but sometimes it's just like, all right, what next? Okay, boom. You can't just become like that. You can't just be a person like that. Mentally, physically, spiritually, everything that you probably think of is attacking him. And that's why he's done that. What happened in his freaking, childhood? What happened? I don't even know.
It hurts because then the other side of me is like, that's my dad. And y'all grandpa.
Like, after you doing that to your kids, like, I'm disgusted, to be honest. And I would want to tell him that I'm disgusted in his actions and what he did. That's jacked up. And now you finally got the dang hammer slammed down on you.
I tried so many times to deal with your granddaddy just for the shit that he's done over the years, but I knew it wasn't gonna never happen because he done fucked everybody up in your whole family.
Mentally, sometimes I feel like I'm not stable. I'm feeling at night like, why am I here sometimes?
I was like, wait a minute. I feel like I totally missed it. I don't know how.
I could probably, speak for Eva and Elijah. Elijah became numb. Elijah couldn't even live with us no more because of all this stuff that we're going through.
It really hit home for Tony because he's the Mr. Fix everybody and keep everything together.
It broke my damn heart for y'all, You did. And I can't put on no front. I still have a heart. Okay? I'll be there in a second for anybody. I never wanted y'all to be exposed to that.
To see Tony break down, it hurt me. I know how he feels about his daughter. He's seen it firsthand and always has been there for me.
That's the reason why I didn't like that side of your family. I don't hate them. I don't like them either. Trying to tear my damn family up. Crazy. Just breaking my fucking heart. You just keep y'all hearts the same. You did. I love the way God has y'all hearts.
He's been keeping a lot of stuff together, and he's been there since day one. He's there for me and the family. He's the rock.
That's one thing I can say about this Stokes family, is we are strong. We have been through a lot. We're going to definitely get you some counseling, because I'm going, Eva going, Dad's going. Yeah, you do. You know, and we're going to always freaking keep it real with each other. And I want y'all to talk to me and your dad. I don't care how bad it is. We are here, Gabby. We are strong. Our whole family is strong.
We are who we are. We the Stokes is flat out.
And ain't nobody going nowhere.
All right, y'all. Shout out to Sarah Stokes, who was on Making the Band. Y'all better give me some likes now. We out here trying to do that good work, trying to do that positive work. I see a bunch of y'all up here on this YouTube channel, and I need y'all to hit that like button for your girl real quick, so we can tell the algorithm that we enjoy and appreciate this content. So the reason I wanted to share that clip is because sitting across from Sarah Stokes and her children, and seeing the impact of the decisions that her father made. So what you guys just watched is a clip from our Broken Things documentary. This was started in 2017, y'all. That's what I'm saying. I've been a soldier for women and girls for a long time, but seeing the impact of Sarah's father was a vicious predator, a vicious predator. As we did the documentary film, we discovered, you guys, Instagram, y'all gonna have to come over to, I'm about to end my Instagram live. I need y'all to come and bring yourselves over to the YouTube channel and hit like on your way in. I love y'all, but I'm gonna wrap this up on IG and finish talking to the folks that's here on YouTube. Thank you, YouTube. Please make sure you hit like and subscribe. Okay, here we go. So the reason I shared that is because I sat in a room and I watched the impact of a predator, a violent predator, and how he changed the lives of generations of his family based on his decisions. So when I see people publicly saying, basically, F them kids, or they father shouldn't have done X, Y, Z, A, B, and C, it really breaks my heart, because we know in the Black community, it's happened for years. The reason why this film has been so important to me, and such a labor of love, is because I have family who have also been victims, right? My mom, unfortunately, was a victim, and I showed her the tape, the doc, before she passed away. And she was really proud of it, because we tend to just be in a space of like, don't say nothing, keep it to yourself, don't share, whatever. So I definitely ride with victims no matter what. And just like I said, when we made this documentary film, I was in the courtroom. Our crew was in the courtroom. My husband was in the courtroom. We watched this man. It was unbelievable. I don't want to give the whole film away, but we had several court appearances, and we watched this man try to wiggle out of being sentenced, which he ultimately was sentenced to 60 years in prison. He had been a predator in this neighborhood for years and years and years. So I understand and agree that all predators have to pay the piper. Every predator has to have his day in court. But what I discovered, and what we discovered in the midst of making this documentary, is it wasn't just Sarah's father who was involved in this behavior. There were people at a very high level of this town, when Sarah was much younger and she reported the abuse, who did not allow her story to be told and did not arrest her father. Instead, put her back in her father's hands, and ultimately she ended up in a home and almost took her life. So clearly, clearly, I understand how important it is to support victims in this situation. I can also speak from the perspective of someone who understands how salacious the media can be, and someone who understands how easy it is you can sue a ham sandwich. So, the safest thing for us as a community to do, the most effective thing for us as a community to do, is to let the legal system play out so that we can discover who else is involved. Because remember, just going back to this Broken Things documentary that I'm filming, there were very powerful people that were supposed to be held responsible. Were supposed to be responsible and hold her father responsible for his actions that had been taking place since Sarah was like 13. She's a grown ass woman now. And those people allowed the behavior to persist. Those people put her back in the hands of her predator ass father. And those people, whoever they are, could have been responsible for her taking her life as a result of not being taken seriously. So I totally get it. But I also think it's important for us to consider the family members who did not engage in the egregious acts. And as we are out here publicly ripping this man apart because we are assuming that every allegation is true, I just encourage people to be considerate of the generations that are impacted by a lot of this stuff, and they don't deserve it. Oh my gosh, thank you for the super chat, Pam Esquire. I appreciate you. Thank you for the great content. Thank you. That means a lot coming from you, especially as an attorney. I really, really appreciate it. Kim says, God help our children. You guys, that's what this is about. And that was another reason why I wanted to share that. This is about saving people. This is not about making money off of Diddy's mistakes. This is about getting a predator off the street. This is about getting predators out of this industry. Imagine what life was like for artists and creatives who did not engage in that behavior, who wanted to just make great songs and make great music. Think about the industry and how corrupt it must have been from the beginning, if in fact all of these allegations are true. Diddy was a very well-connected individual. He's still a very well-connected individual, right? So think about how deep that rabbit hole of like vicious, terrible predators goes in the entertainment industry. Think about all the young women who had to feel like they had to acquiesce and do some shit that was really against their morals in order to get through in this industry, right? I'm so glad that Foxy Brown is speaking up and she's saying, listen, y'all try to make me have an issue with Jay-Z. I don't have an issue with Jay-Z. I need you guys to hit that like button, please, and thank you. Please, I see y'all coming up in here, and thank you anyone who is coming. Pam Esquire, the law intellect. Sis, listen, you are the example of showing up. I appreciate you so much because she alone as one woman has gotten me followers and super chats and all sorts of stuff. So that is how you show up for people. I really appreciate it. I'm new to this new YouTube universe and I really appreciate it. Kat says the predator who changed my life abused me, and when I broke it off, he turned away to have, wow. Oh my gosh, that's terrible, terrible, terrible. It's so many stories of people who have been victims of predators. And the one thing I can say that I'm super excited about is hearing more of these names. Because y'all, they got some names of some people that are about to come out. And I think that we are going to be shocked and surprised and disappointed. But let's get into this attorney real quick. I want to turn the page and get into this attorney, Miss Kidd, who is saying that there was a tape. There was a tape of somebody that she had been approached to sell or do a catch and kill. And in Hollywood, a catch and kill basically means that somebody's got a tape of you doing something crazy or pictures of you doing something crazy, and I guess you pay them in order to avoid it being released. And initially I was like, wow, okay, this is cool. Like, not as cool that there's a tape. I was like, oh, it's cool that she said that she didn't want to be involved in releasing the tape because it could have potentially been a minor. So she said that she didn't even, allegedly what she said was that she didn't even want to look at the tape and they had to give her screenshots. But based on what she saw in the screenshots, it looked like it was a minor. And now people are just speculating about who it is. And y'all, listen, people, family, us, y'all, why would you put people's names out there and drag people into something when you have no fucking idea who this lady talking about? But because we just love all of the salacious bull sugar honey iced tea, we just throwing people's names out there and putting people's names and stuff. How would you feel, right? You got a job, you got kids, you got a family, you got a wife, you got a mama, you got a daddy, you got family, people who love you, people who care about you, and you're a big time celebrity. And because folks want to talk about something, because people just want to talk about some shit, they've included you in some really egregious, terrible shit. And once you put it out there, you can't take it back. So now you got this long list of all of these people who are allegedly, right? Allegedly involved in this Diddy stuff. Why do we do it? Why do we throw people under the bus before we have all of the information? Let's wait until we have the information. That's not going to be long because the man said, what'd he say? Before the end of the month, folks are going to get named. Wait until you see it in a claim. This is the reason why people go through the process of filing claims in a court of law. And those claims are vetted by lawyers who understand what is just frivolous. Speaking of frivolous, every time I hear that word, it gets under my skin. Every time I hear that the judge in my case felt like my case was frivolous. Oh, see what I'm saying, y'all? Some of us have a different perspective because we're actually in the court system and we understand or have a better understanding now of how the shit works. Everybody deserves the right to a fair trial, especially when it is something that could potentially ruin their lives. And people don't get involved in court cases for clout. I know a lot of folks want to believe in your young, undeveloped mind. And I say young and undeveloped because clearly if you think somebody is going into a litigation for clout, it is young and undeveloped because don't nobody do this shit, what I'm doing and what so many others are doing, for clout. But I get how these pictures are painted in the press and in the media of people and situations, and we just ride with it. And it's just so dangerous and so toxic and so terrible. I remember watching an interview with Maya, and she said she walked away from mainstream media basically because she wasn't selling her soul. Yes, I did see the interview with Maya, and I've always thought of her as somebody who has managed to stay out of the BS. And I guess, that was a solid decision on her part. And it's a shame that, artists have to either make the decision to move away from the industry and not pursue their dreams and their gifts and their careers because they feel like they're going to be forced to do something that they don't want to do. That's terrible, but that isn't just Diddy. And I really need people to understand. And I wish that I could say more, but it would all be speculation because I wasn't there. I have no idea how that went down. Pam says everyone deserves due process. He doesn't have to prove his innocence. The government has to prove that he is guilty beyond a reasonable doubt. Ooh, we make it big so all the people can see it. This woman is a lawyer, and she is from Detroit, and she says it very clearly in a way that I can't. Everyone deserves due process. He doesn't have to prove he is innocent. The government has to prove that he is guilty beyond a reasonable doubt. That is a sobering fact that only a smart legal eagle, such as Pam the Law Intellect, can break down for us. That's just the bottom line, right? And that is the other part of it is I do understand. I've heard that the government, once they come, they got like a 99.99999%, record where they getting what they came for. I will say that. And that's a scary thought. You know what I mean? They say when they come a knocking, then they're ready and they prepared and they've done their due diligence. And it's not just, a crank call. But I do believe that everyone is guilty until proven innocent. Please, 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 on your way in, hit the like button. I see a lot of y'all out here and I'm so grateful. I hope you are subscribed and I hope that you hit the like button. Nikki, a little off topic. There's a supernatural healing and blessing coming to you in February, March of next year. I'm holding you in prayer. I will receive that. Thank you very much. And let me say, to everyone who's been praying for my sister, everyone who is praying for me, I appreciate you. It does not go unnoticed, and it means more than you know. I would really love to see. I would really love to see our community come together in support of one another a lot more than we do. I would love for our community to also be clear that while we are used as tools of the incompetent, oftentimes to perpetuate really horrible stereotypes and narratives, we also have the power to change that within our community if we just come together, right? Please believe that this situation with Diddy, the wind beneath its wings is our community, period. How appalled we were when we saw that video, how curious we are to hear all of the other details. Like, when we come together and amplify something, it's amazing the results that we can end up getting. Black Twitter is a real thing. Black YouTube and Instagram and everything else is a real thing. I just want there to be more responsible coverage of many of the terrible things that are happening in our community, because we so desperately need to heal from the trash and the trauma and the garbage that we have been served for at least since the 90s, based on what we're seeing with these allegations. And we also need to be clear that it is not just Puffy. And I'm saying that because I don't believe that once Diddy is locked up, he is locked up now, but once this trial is over, I don't believe that all of the bad things in the industry go away. I don't believe that women are safe from misogyny and SA and all the other DV and all the other terrible things that happen. It's crazy because we're in Domestic Violence Awareness Month right now. And that's why I played that clip earlier with Kiki. And matter of fact, for those of you who didn't get a chance to see it, I'm gonna play it for y'all again. I'll be right back. Hold on a second.
I've lived so much of a life in my little small lifetime. I'll tell you this. I don't know if you do like together for real or not. I don't know if y'all plan on getting back together. If y'all ain't together, that ain't none of my business. But from woman to woman, keep yourself safe and your babies, and don't let no man touch you.
Keep yourself safe and your babies, and don't let no man touch you. We are in the middle of Domestic Violence Awareness Month, and I would be remiss if I did not say people have been fighting for the rights of women and girls in the Black community, those who have been abused, those who have been assaulted, those who have gone missing, those who have been trafficked and rugged. And now that Diddy, this hugely popular person is being accused of doing it. It's getting all of this mainstream media attention. There's a woman right now while we're on this live having this conversation that is going through a DV situation or SA situation. Please like this video, y'all. I see a bunch of y'all in here. Please hit the like button. Please hit the like button. There's someone being abused right now as we speak. There are so many horrible things happening in our community every single day. So the good thing about what's happening with Diddy is that at least now people are aware that it actually happens at every level, even the highest level of entertainment and the wealthiest moguls and all that other stuff. And maybe because it is happening at such a high level, all of those people in Detroit and in St. Louis and in LA and in Atlanta and in those neighborhoods and communities where it happens to them every single day, this is an opportunity for them to see that we care enough to call it out, to amplify it, to speak truth about it. And it hopefully will encourage, even if it's not Diddy or some of the other people that have enabled him, hopefully it will encourage everyday people to be brave enough to speak up against their husbands and brothers and cousins and relatives and neighbors and babysitters and music teachers. I just talked about this the other day. We had a whole music teacher at my high school who was a habitual predator, sleeping with little boys after their parents dropped them off, thinking that they were safe because it was a whole bunch of students together. And they were not safe. They were victims of this horrible, awful predator. That's not just some shit we made up. We did a whole movie about it because it was a real thing. And guess what? Every movie and series and documentary and conversation that I've ever made that involves the topic of SA and DV, I have consistently been told that the subject matter is too heavy, the subject matter is too dark, and that there's no place for it in terms of being distributed. That leads me to wonder, is it that there's no place for it because nobody's interested, it's not happening, it's not a subject that will impact the community, or is it hitting too close for home for some of these people in power who make the decisions about what things are green lit and what things are shared with the community? Is it hitting a little too close to home for those people? And if that is the reason why stories that, we did a whole thing on From the Bottom Up, which is on WIRFTV.com, our streaming platform. You can watch the whole season. Yes, for us, by us, women in reality, film, and TV. But there's a whole conversation about these R-word kits, grape, I guess I have to say for YouTube, kits that were left untested in the city of Detroit. And prosecutor Kim Worthy and Mariska Hargitay and a few other people from Law and Order were actually trying to get these kits tested. And a lot of them were destroyed, which is really, really terrible. I mean, imagine that you are assaulted by someone and the kits ultimately end up destroyed. Now, that's a bad thing because a lot of the predators got away with it because they'll never have the DNA evidence and all the evidence that was stored to be able to get them locked up for it. And it's unfortunate because brothers who were accused of doing something that did not do it, there's no way to really exonerate them. So, while we're looking at this Diddy situation and it's just so salacious and such a big deal and everybody's just so like, no Diddy and where the baby oil and like making jokes about shit, there are real people's lives every single day that are impacted by predators like allegedly him and anybody who enabled him. And there are people who unfortunately will never see justice because we choose to sweep shit under the rug. And those executives, yes, those executives who told me that my content that addresses SA and DV and all those other terrible things was too heavy and didn't have enough levity, those people are really doing a disservice to our community by not allowing these stories to be amplified. The fact that I have to sit here on YouTube and use the word grape instead of what actually happened. The fact that when I put DV in my title or anything connected to it, you know, my advertising revenue is going to be decreased, and it's not appropriate for all advertisers because it is too real. Imagine if stories about this kind of behavior were allowed to thrive and be shown to the public many years ago. Imagine how many victims of maybe even allegedly, and I keep saying allegedly because we don't know till the man go to court, allegedly what Diddy is being accused of. So many people might have spoken out, right? And I know that to be a fact because from the bottom up, the series that led to the documentary where the clip I just showed y'all, the little girl across the street from Sarah. And if y'all heard the story already, bear with me because there are obviously some people on here that have not heard the story. But the little girl who lived across the street from Sarah, who had been being molested, I guess I gotta just, it's so dumb, by Sarah's predator ass father. She saw Sarah speaking about it on the show. She saw her sitting down with a counselor talking about what happened to her, how she was. And the crazy thing is, Sarah worked with Puff. Sarah had to walk to Brooklyn for cheesecake for Puffy. Sarah was someone who was victimized from the time she was 3 or 4 years old by her mother's boyfriend, and then went and father was supposed to rescue her, and he turned out to be a creep who got sentenced to 60 years in prison. But my point is just, it's rampant in our community. And the girl saw Sarah on From the Bottom Up. Her mom asked about it. One thing led to another. Ultimately, the feds kicked in the door and found all sorts of pornographic material and all sorts of out of pocket, out of order sugar honey iced tea that her father was in possession of. And even after you found him red-handed with videos and text messages and all kinds of stuff, not unlike what happened with Diddy, allegedly, he still had the opportunity to go through this judicial system, go through this process, this due process, like Pam said. And it's crazy to me that it feels like the perpetrators do have more opportunities to prove themselves allegedly innocent than the victims have to prove themselves, honest, right? It's terrible. Lauren Bates, hello, Soror. This is such an important conversation that doesn't get talked about enough. Thank you for having the conversation, and thank you for being a part of the team that helps to make sure that these stories have an opportunity to be heard and explored. Big Meech just talking about the music teacher on his YouTube channel. Oh, was he really? Yes, Big Meech is my high school classmate, and the music teacher was a horrible predator. He was a horrible, god-awful guy. And he got away with it. And again, just like in Sarah Stokes' case, where she went to the police and she told them about what her father was doing. And listen, it wasn't just Sarah who went to the police and told them about what her father was doing. It was another young girl that was a friend of hers who went to the police and told them about what the father was doing. And that young lady's parents ended up moving out of state because the response to these young women talking about the fact that Sarah's father was a predator, he got reported as a predator when she was 13. The man did not go to jail until about 3 years ago. Sarah's a grown-ass woman with kids, and he did not go to jail for being a predator for over 30 years in a community because there were people within the power structure that just, for whatever reason, didn't believe the young ladies. And there is a story online about some folks in high places in that community who were guilty or accused. I don't know if they were ever found guilty, but accused of doing something similar to what Sarah Stokes' dad did. Also, what's really interesting is when someone just talked about Meech, who was my high school classmate, talking about the teacher who was molesting children, our music teacher who was molesting children. That was the second film project, Broken Things. I'm sorry, no. Broken Things is Sarah's story. The second film project is called Social Conflict. It's a series about a high school in Detroit. We shot it at my old high school in Detroit. I wrote this thing after I saw a whole story about GUNs in school, and then it turned into a whole nother thing. And then I went to my friend, who is the co-writer and co-producer and director on this project. And I was like, listen, I'm doing a movie about GUN control in schools, like what it would look like if they allowed teachers to carry, those things in school, right? I gotta be careful about that because of YouTube. And I said, the movie opens with a young man who's played by my nephew, Jacob. He's young, budding young actor. He's now a writer, which is I'm really excited about. He's writing a project. But it opens with the teacher getting pow-powed by a student. And I was like, I want the student to pow-pow the teacher. I know that you haven't really talked about this publicly, but I know you were a victim of Tillis's predatory behavior. How would you feel if the reason why the student pow-powed the teacher was because of that? And I'm so happy to be able to say that he said, oh yeah, I like it a lot. Matter of fact, let's go deeper. Let's really go into it. So if you guys have a chance, please go over to WIRFTV.com. I'll probably put it on the YouTube channel as well. I'm trying to keep some of the stuff behind the paywall because, we still out here in these streets trying to, build a streaming platform. And these stories are important and obviously not important enough for a major distributor to feel like they want to air them. But now, as we're unpacking this Diddy stuff, we understand why so many people in Hollywood and the music industry are afraid to address these stories. I'm not saying everybody who said no to these powerful stories about, abuse and neglect are all saying no because they've somehow indulged in it. I'm not suggesting that. I'm just saying I understand how at a top level people could be concerned about how triggering it could be, not just for people who may be perpetrators, but also victims. Because one thing is for sure, with this 120 extra victims coming out here, baby, it's going to be a whole situation. Lauren says, everything is not funny. They did the same thing with R. Kelly, Epstein, Weinstein, and Cosby. These men with money and power get away with this for so long because there are so many enablers on payroll. Baby, you ain't never lied. It's kind of like, I understand why people are so afraid to speak up, A little story I'll share is when my sister Maxie passed away. Please like this video, you guys. I feel like we're giving y'all some great information here. I feel like my subscribers are bringing in great comments, and we just need y'all to do us the kind favor of just taking your finger and hitting that like button so that we know and I can get a little more love in these YouTube streets. I really appreciate it. It costs you nothing to hit that like button, and I really, really appreciate it. But I believe, let me try to wrap this up and not make this too long-winded. I believe that we're going to be shocked and appalled at a lot of what we learn as this trial progresses. I believe that there are going to be a lot of people who are going to be named as defendants. I also believe that there will be some really heartbreaking, based on what this lawyer came out here and said about the whole catch and kill, and allegedly they still gonna put it out and the person is upset and whatever. But I feel like we're gonna see some things that are gonna really turn our stomachs and really make us question a lot. And I think even in the midst of all of that, we have to let this play out in a court of law. I think we continue to amplify the voices of victims, not just victims of Diddy or victims of, the entertainment industry or the music industry, but victims like the lady next door, the little girl down the street, the family member, you know, the more we normalize people being able to share their experiences, I think the more we'll be able to solve the issue of violence, and not just violence perpetrated on women, because like the story I told y'all about our junior high school teacher, our high school teacher, and so many other stories that you hear about young men who are victims as well. That's a whole thing. And I think that's another thing we got to be careful about. Like, everybody is laughing and joking about, oh, we found out he might be, on the DL and this and that and the third. What does that have to do with what does that have to do with anything in the whole wide world? Why do we care? Why do we care about consenting adults and how they get down? That ain't nobody's business in these internet streets. What we care about is the people who were forced to engage in those activities. Pam says, we found out that one of our elementary school staff was a mentor to the boys, was a predator too. This man brought music artists to our school every year. Damn, Pam. And Pam is from Detroit. So who is the onus on? Let me ask that question. When you find out that teachers in public school systems, private school systems, wherever, have been preying on young people, is it just the teacher who needs to be held accountable? Is that how we fix the problem? Do we fix the problem by only holding teachers responsible, or the people, the predators, responsible? Or is some of the onus on the people who are running the schools, running the record labels, running the TV and film companies? Like, isn't there a reason why people have human resources? Isn't there a reason why there are standards and practice and training? And like, don't some people have to be aware? Now, I get it. Like, the one thing about these pedos is they real slick with it. They're extra slick with it. Totally understand that. But somebody had to hear something about the elementary school teacher at Pam's school. Somebody had to hear something about, and let me tell y'all something else about my high school in particular. Baby, listen, they found a young girl's BODY near the school who had been R-worded. They found out that the principal, and this can all be Googled, the principal, after I left the school, so this is years after I left and my friends who were victimized by the music teacher left, the principal and someone else in the school was allegedly in inappropriate relationships with the young ladies, and somebody came in there and got rid of him the illegal way. He didn't go through the court system. Allegedly, something happened with this guy, and they were saying that it was the relative of someone who discovered that he had been inappropriate with children. Royal says, I can't stress enough, talk to the children around you. We are never too young. My mother talking to me about this as a toddler and teaching me to be brave enough to stand up to potential predators. Yep, absolutely. 100%. Talk to your kids. It's never too early to talk. Let me tell y'all something. I'm not even going to hold y'all up. Some people may be able to relate. When we were young, it was don't be sitting on such and such lap. Don't be in that room by yourself with such and such. If you look around and you see you're the only person in the room with such and such, and then there's a question about that. Like, why do we put the responsibility on children if they're whispers of an adult doing inappropriate things, right? Again, going back to our place in this country, going back to the reality that people were able to get married to grown-ass men at 13 and 14 and You know what I mean? Like the misogyny and the behavior has been going on in a weird, uncomfortable, inappropriate way in this country for many, 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 many years. And I think that part of the reason why maybe our grandparents, great grandparents, certain people weren't as adamant about protecting children from predators and just kind of being like, don't go up in a room with that person, is maybe because they just didn't have the power to do it. They didn't have the strength, for lack of a better word, to stand up to those members of the family who were labeled, people to stay away from. They just put the onus on the kids to do it. And I think we normalized, you know, kids being responsible for themselves. I remember when I used to walk to school, it was this weirdo, I think it may have happened twice, would pull up on the side and I'm thinking he's asking for directions and he in there dragging it. And I'm like, but see, I was just I flipped out, cussed about, and started running, screaming, and he was, yeah. But not everybody's gonna do that. Pam says, how come I can't add this comment? I've sued the school board and the teachers because in my experience, there's usually a complaint. You right. A complaint is usually filed that is ignored. I'm sure there are plenty of people in this Diddy situation that, matter of fact, based on some of the information that we've read, there are people who have filed police reports. There are people who have gone to the hospital and done kits and all kinds of stuff. And I started talking about this and I kind of slyly moved away from it. But I'll share this. When Maxie passed away, we went to LA and I just remember going into the police department and having a conversation, or cousin calmed me down or whatever. And I just remember feeling like, none of this feels right. And I've never really been comfortable in Hollywood and LA since, because I can just feel the corruption. I can just feel that everybody's in everybody's bag of it all. And it never feels like a comfortable place for me anymore, I have to say. I don't understand why I'm not able to get y'all's comments up here. Someone says here, they are not vetting potential teachers well enough. And that's what we need to do to prevent the victim from becoming the predator. I agree. Predatory behavior saved me. Oh, wow, that's deep. Lauren says, anyone that was told but didn't do anything about it should be held accountable because they knowingly let it continue. And if they don't do anything to stop it, yep, 100%, 100%. Royal says, my mom's talk saves me. Yep, the mama talks will save you. My mom would not allow me to go to slumber parties. Yeah, and that's really interesting because that is when the predatory behavior happened with our music teacher. We would have these competitions maybe once or twice a year, and because the bus that took us to the competitions came very early. Some kids' parents dropped them off at the crack of dawn, but they allowed us to have like a school slumber party with the boy, and it was always, oh, don't worry, the girls are going to all sleep upstairs and the boys are going to all sleep downstairs. And that is when his trifling ass did all of that horrible, awful stuff to our friends. And we all have either heard or met someone or been introduced to somebody who's been a victim. And the worst thing that you can do is not believe someone when they tell you that they've been a victim of a heinous assault or attack, right? But we also know people who make up stories. And those are the people that I hope God deals with in the same way that he deals with predators. Because when you are just looking to grab a bag or looking for some attention, and you accuse someone of doing something that never happened, you are equally as foul as the predator who actually did something to someone. Because, like his mother said in her statement, it does indeed thwart the efforts to really actually help real, actual victims. And that is something that I know from firsthand experience. People get really discouraged when they feel like people don't believe them. Sarah Stokes is one of those people who got really discouraged when it felt like people weren't interested in her story and people didn't care enough about her story. We started doing this documentary in 2017, long before this R. Kelly stuff, before the whole stuff with Diddy. And, you know, it's disappointing when you feel like you're going to open up and you're going to share your story with the world and people are going to receive it and someone is going to be saved from it. More people will be saved from it because she already definitely saved someone's life, someone who saw from the bottom up, asked, and ultimately led to the capture of her father and him being sentenced to 60 years. So I want to get on here and be rambling too long. It's already what is that, an hour and 30 something minutes. Please, guys, hit the like button. Thank you very much. We just, you know, let's follow this thing. Let's unpack it. Let's talk about it. Let's not believe everything that we see in the media, but not be surprised by anything that we hear that is an actual claim that is filed in the court of law. And hopefully you guys will get to the bottom of not just Diddy, but anybody who was at the party. That's what I want to know. I want to know who was at that party, who was watching this crazy shit happen, who was participating in it. I want to know all of that. I'm so curious. I want to know everything, as my daddy said. And the reason why I want to know everything is because I feel like we're going to find out a whole lot more predators in Hollywood and in the music industry. And I think that's what needs to happen in order for us to really actually fix this business. So hopefully 90s R&B will save the entertainment industry. We got a If You Love Me single coming for y'all on October 24th, which is the anniversary of the 30-year anniversary. Can y'all believe it? 30 years? 30-year anniversary of Brownstone's From the Bottom Up album is actually January 10th, 2025. But the 30-year anniversary of If You Love Me is October 24th. And we got something special coming. So you guys make sure y'all are following Brownstone Official. And we're going to do something special with this record. We believe that there is a way for all of us to come together and support one another and raise funds and awareness to help the people in the community who were not victims of Diddy or any of those high profile folks, who are not going to get all that media attention that all those people are going to get, who still deserve to have our community advocate for them. So we got something really special planned with If You Love Me, because if you love me, don't beat me up. If you love me, don't assault me. If you love me, don't prevent me from being able to have opportunities as a woman of color. Just like my shirts say, Black women are lit as fuck. And if you love me, then amplify that. So we're going to do something really special with the song. Yeah, it's a lot of people out here, you guys. And again, I want to be careful about, I see some of y'all naming folks, and I understand it totally. And I'm not saying that y'all don't know what you're talking about. I'm just saying that I have to be a little bit more responsible, a lot more responsible. And I don't want to put people's names out here in these streets that may have absolutely nothing to do with all of this. You guys, we want this to be really salacious, and, you know, we want this to be real, like, you know, messy and entertaining and whatever. And it's a lot of people out here on YouTube and everywhere just kind of saying shit and throwing stuff up against the wall to see what sticks. But if we really want to get to solutions, we have to wait for the due process to occur in Diddy's case. We have to watch closely to see who else comes out of this, like, oh, that person? Yep, I thought so. And that person, because I got a list of my own that I will never share till all this is over and we find out that the people on the list was actually guilty. But I have a list of my own that I think should be answering to folks, because I might not have been at the freak offs, but I've been in this industry long enough to know that there's been a lot of crazy stuff going on, but I'm also more responsible than to just sit out here and start putting people's stuff out in the street without receipts. Congratulations on 30 years. Thank you guys. Can y'all believe it? We owe. I don't want to rain on this parade, but I'm starting to question the love that was made. I'm not looking for just an affair. Can y'all believe that's 30 years old, October 24th? And we got something special planned. So please hit the like button. Please subscribe to our YouTube channel. I'm going to take my tired ass. Y'all, I got to listen. This is so funny. I'm going to share this with y'all before I leave because I am someone who could laugh at myself. So Viola Davis posted something about Fannie Lou Hamer. She posted, it's her birthday, right? And let me tell y'all how tired I am. And this is why you got to be careful. And I'm going to get up off this lie. Baby, I just, sorry. I don't know why in my mind, as much as I knew I was looking at Fannie Lou Hamer, I don't know why in my mind I kept seeing Hattie McDaniel. Hattie McDaniel is the Sigma Gamma Rho Sorority Incorporated soror, not Fannie Lou Hamer. And I'm just moving all fast. And I'm like, yeah, sorry. Oh, she's a Delta. I'm like, no, Google it. And then my dumb ass went and Googled it. And I was like, oh my God, I cannot believe. So I'm tired. I ain't been sleeping as many hours as I should. But I'm determined to get on this here YouTube and share information with you guys that I hope at least ignites some different perspectives and conversation, because I'm not going to get up here and gossip about people and throw folks under the bus. I'm going to share information that I hope inspires us to just become better. That's all. That's it. That's all. So that's my husband saying, cut that, you rambling at this point. Thank you. I see a bunch of y'all in the room. I know a lot of y'all came from Pam, the Law Intellect. I appreciate you guys. Thank you, Pam, for the super chat. Did anybody else give a super chat? I don't know, but if you feel froggish leap, our cash app is fight. Well, $ first, fight, FIGHT, the number 4, and worth. Everything we do at worthmedia.com is about pushing the culture forward, specifically our culture, women and girls. And I hope you guys will go on and register and watch some of this content. Have a wonderful evening. Sweet dreams to all of y'all. Let's pace ourselves and make sure that whatever we do, we're being responsible about the reporting. And to Mrs. Combs, Diddy's mom, hey Barbs, love the Barbs. What it do? Miss Combs is doing what she's supposed to do. She's a mom. And let's pray for Diddy. I'm gonna challenge everybody to dig deep and pray for Diddy. They say you're supposed to pray for your enemies. You're supposed to pray for the weak. You're supposed to pray for the whatever. Let's pray for him. And on a serious note, I hope you guys enjoyed the clip of Sarah's family and her girls and her husband being transparent about how her father's predatory behavior has impacted their family. And it has indeed impacted their family for generations. So think about that when you start thinking about Diddy's folks, because his girls and his kids, as we know so far, are not the ones who committed these heinous acts. And I can't wait to find out who else involved in that motherfucker. And you better believe that we're going to go hard in the paint on their asses too. Because at the end of the day, it's wrong as two left shoes. And if you have been enabling that behavior, you are complicit and your ass deserve to go to jail too. How about that? Okay, guys, let's stay tuned. Thank you guys for the likes. Please like, share, and subscribe. Thank y'all for joining me for Nights with Nikki. I'm going to get myself some rest, but I'll be back tomorrow night. So tell a friend to tell a friend. She coming back again. All right. Love y'all. Peace.